Okay, now you're live. Current चला गया bro.
There's no need to exchange pleasantries. It's rather pathetic to force a conversation just to occupy silence. Relax.
Okay.
You think I've got a sharp tongue? I just tell it like it is. If someone can't handle it, maybe that's their problem.
Hello, बोल जल्दी. Genshin Impact stream पे हो. हाँ, okay. Okay, now we... Shit, I got my mic.
There's no need to exchange pleasantries. It's rather pathetic to force a conversation just to occupy silence. Relax.
Relax.
Squall and Fury.
यार मेरा अनजिप नहीं हो रहा है ये फाइल इसका
जान से तो क्यों नहीं आ रहा?
Quit following.
अनजिप हो ही नहीं रहा मैं कल रात को भी 2 घंटे तक बैठा रहा और ये ना तीन अनजिप होते हैं मतलब
People probably don't come here often,
1/3
do they?
मतलब 3 फाइल्स होंगी अनजिप उनमें से
हाँ.
पहली चल रही है अभी वो भी
Or
76% ही है
us
1
playing
घंटे के अंदर
tricks? Or are there
Really fine.
things embedded in this
Visions.
visions?
Visions.
You mean all the visions that are collected?
So you've already heard of the Vision Hunt Decree. Before I try to explain, I should perhaps remind you first that Mondstadt is the city of freedom, and Liyue is the city of contracts. As for Inazuma, it's the Raiden Shogun is both the nation's most powerful ruler, and the eternity in question is her endless and unchanging will to rule over Inazuma. As such, she relies on the Tri-Commission to regulate the nation's affairs and the Sakoku Decree to limit the people's movement. The Shogun wishes to keep Inazuma in stasis, allowing the stream of time to flow from one end to the other without disturbing it.
Seems like every god has their own will.
Of course, this is perhaps the Shogun, but whatever the case, the fact is that the Raiden Shogun has dispatched the Tenryou Commission to scour the nation for visions, embedding each one in this, and this statue of the omnipresent god can be seen as Inazuma's symbol.
But if that's the case, wouldn't you say that the Raiden Shogun is being... oh, I don't know.
Only outlanders such as yourselves would ever dare speak out so directly again. And yet, I agree.
मेरा
The
कौन
Vision
सा
Hunt
रहेगा?
Decree is
No,
something
no,
that
mera.
simply should not exist. And Miss Kamisato has been committed to fighting it since the day it was...
लेवल हुआ
12 level हो गया.
क्या हो गया
Oh, क्या हो रहा?
Huh? Hey, are you okay? You look like your mind is elsewhere.
Sound?
Yeah, you touched the statue, and then...
Aspirations? Have you heard it before? That when a person's ambition reaches a certain strength, the gods look upon them with favor. That is where visions come from. In other words, a person's vision represents their ambition. So if what you then the ambitions of these people are stronger than I imagined. All right, time for the next stop on our tour of Narukami Island. the Kamisato resident.
Oh. Completed. Kamisato estate.
The wind rises.
Kamisato. Okay. Kamisato Island. Let's go. Where's that? Where's that?
Squall and fury.
Collect title.
Behold! Squall and fury.
एक पता है ट्रिक्स में अपना क्लीपर फार्म वर्क कर रहा है
हाँ कैसे वर्क कर रहा?
This is the kind of
वो
place
एकदम
where
है
the
ना,
big
पता है
shots
ऊपर
of
जाना पड़ेगा।
Inazuma live, huh?
हाँ
128 ब्लॉक्स ऊपर जाना
Kinda
पड़ेगा।
expected it to
तो वहाँ पे
be
जाके AFK होना पड़ेगा।
snazzier.
अगर तू कहीं और पे AFK होना, मतलब जैसे मैं AFK हो रहा हूँ और तू अपना खेल रहा है ना कहीं और, तो काम नहीं करता वो।
अच्छा ओके ओके
क्योंकि पता है काम
ओ
मतलब एग्जैक्टली मतलब क्या होता है उसका मतलब ये होता है कि
हाँ अच्छा तो
उसके
AFK होना अच्छा उसका पास नहीं रहना पूरा AFK होना
उसके पास नहीं रहना। हाँ, क्योंकि अगर अपन जैसे मैं नीचे घूम रहा हूँ ना कहीं पे,
हाँ
तो मेरे चारों तरफ 128 ब्लॉक्स के अंदर कहीं पे भी वो मॉब स्पॉन हो सकता है मतलब। और अगर मैं एकदम आसमान में रहूंगा ना, तो वो नीचे ही स्पॉन होगा, मेरे नीचे भी वहां पे।
अच्छा
इसलिए
अरे हाँ हाँ अभी समझ आया ओके ओके इसलिए बहुत सारे
इसीलिए
वो वहाँ पे वो क्रीपर्स मतलब वहाँ पे आ रहा क्रीपर्स बहुत सारे आ रहा ना इसलिए
हाँ,
घर
इसीलिए
के
वो,
अंदर आ रहा वो भी
क्योंकि अपन जहाँ पे रहते हैं ना उसके पास में ही वो स्पॉन होते हैं।
अरे बहुत
और अगर
डेंजर है
आसमान में,
वो नहीं बोला पहले ही मतलब बहुत दूर करना है ये बोल के
इसीलिए
हाँ अच्छा अच्छा
Welcome at last to the Kamisato residence.
Is this the Shirasage Himigimi you keep going on about? So,
where she
where's she at? Oh,
Yes. As the daughter of the Yashiro Commission, this is how Miss Kamisato is accustomed to receiving guests. Consider it a
Okay.
time-honored
I
tradition with
think I understand
makes sense. She's a super important person after all.
Please forgive my lack of courtesy for receiving you in this fashion. Especially following, I have awaited your arrival with great anticipation. And at present in Inazuma, in the name of the Vision Hunt Decree, the people's aspirations are being senselessly trampled underfoot. Though the Yashiro Commission serves the Shogun, it is the people with whom we share close bonds, Given the contact we are required to have with them in the performance of a commission's power rises and falls with the trust of their people. Thus, we cannot remain indifferent to this situation without also remaining indifferent to Traveler. Lend us your power, and we can...
I'm just here to meet the Raiden Shogun.
Oh,
Okay.
See, milady, it's just like I said. This will take us nowhere.
no, please, wait! I will introduce you to the Raiden Shogun on one condition.
What are your wishes?
They pertain to 3 whose visions were taken from them. Perhaps once you've met them, you will
You will understand. Okay, nice. There is the story of 3 visionless people.
A warrior who guards a village, a former samurai who helped carry out the Vision Hunt decree, and a swordmaster determined to become the best in the world. Does Paimon got that right?
Correct.
Right.
Please do all you can to help them. I will await your return here.
I will do as you do.
I'm sure you'll do great.
किससे बात कर रही थी?
इसमें देख रहा स्टोरी नाइस लेट्स गो नया मिशन आ गया एलिमेंटल रिएक्शन
पीनट बटर हेल्दी रहता है क्या?
क्या
पीनट बटर हेल्दी रहता है क्या?
अरे बहुत हेल्दी मेरा फेवरेट है वो
कौन सा मंगाते हैं?
क्रंची वाला क्रंची वाला अच्छा रहता
अरे नाइस, मैं भी क्रंची वाला खा रहा हूँ।
हाँ वो भी अच्छा रहता
The
क्रंची
wind
वाला
rises.
वो पेस्ट ना वो थोड़ा चिपक जाता मतलब वो सॉफ्ट वाला
हाँ,
मुंह में चिपक जाता वो
मैं भी क्रंची वाला खा रहा हूँ अभी।
अच्छा अभी खा रहा है फिर बहुत अच्छा लगता वो क्या
Too slow. Behold! Quick fall. The judgment is upon you.
हाँ స్ట్రీమ్ లో అందుకే ఫోన్ లోపల फिर अभी तक चालू नहीं हुआ क्या
जेंशन इम्पैक्ट
हाँ
नहीं, वो हो रहा है, वेरीफाई हो रहा है।
अरे इतने देर क्यों हो रहा वो
बहुत टाइम लग रहा है उसको।
నీ మొత్తం వేసుకుంటా జెన్షి పాపయానా ఓ భాయ్ ఓ భాయ్ let's go
Freeze! Futile! The wind rises. Know your place. Squall and Fury. Dodge this. Don't get frostbite. Don't push your luck. Cool it. Dodge this. Time for retribution. Freeze. Dodge this. This moment will be frozen in time.
let's go wonderful babaya 5 minutes consume పాని తెలుసు పాని కూడా తెలుసు అది పాని సర్ప్రైజెస్ అన్నాడు ఇదే
Seems all the other knights already have their.
Let's see. Where's the person Ayaka told?
Why are you doing this? Why leave all of a sudden after...
Precisely. It's much too sudden. We've had no time to prepare. The children are desperate for you to take them out to play.
That must be the guy Ayaka told.
Ah, you must also be here to try and convince Tejima to stay. Tejima has protected this place ever since he arrived here 30 years ago, keeping out the treasure hoarders, fending off any monsters that draw near. resolving quarrels between the villagers. He has put an enormous amount of work into looking after this place, and we all think the world of him. But now, all of a sudden, he says he plans to leave us. We can't help but wonder, was it some... We will gladly apologize if that's the case. All we want is...
Benjuro. So, why the
If you want my opinion, something to do with the Vision Hunt decree. It's clear that Tejima had done nothing wrong, and still they confiscated his vision. After that, I can't claim to fully understand it, but I could tell that he'd lost something very important to him. He went off on a walk, alone, circled the village a few times. Truth be told, we aren't sure whether trying to keep him here is the right thing to do, but...
Seems like he's a well-respected...
Benjima.
One day, I'll be as creative as
Okay.
You must be Tejima. So what's made you want to up and leave all of it?
Me? It's not a question of why I want to leave, but a question of what rang true and what made me want to come here 30 years ago. And why have I never wanted to leave in all? I don't have answers to those questions because I can't remember anymore. Ever since in the past, I knew I wanted to stay here. But whatever...
Okay. Well, in that case... But if you... Oh! Maybe if you just try a little harder to remember, then it'll all...
Oh, that reminds me. Last time I brought Tejima some fruit, I do believe I saw him writing in...
I keep a diary?
Oh, yes, yes, you do. And what's more, I remember...
Perfect! So if we want to keep Tejima from leaving, we...
If you don't mind, we will leave you to...
Okay, find the...
This looks like Tejima's... Let's see what we have today. The villagers and I got together to cook dry braised salted fish. I messed up and burned mine a little, so I had to pretend that it was black snakehead instead. Today, I helped rescue a kid who had fallen in the water. After I pulled him out, he told me that his best friend Bamboo was still in the water. I went kite flying today. The string broke, so I chased after... Seems like you're... Huh? I went to pray at the shrine again today and stayed there a while. The Omamori you gave me has faded a little, but it is still my... Now that's the kind of info we're looking for! So this is... interesting. Looking at the color and the design, Paimon would have thought it belonged to a but anyway, if he had this with him all the time, there's a chance some of his elemental energy remained on it.
Use the elemental
What's the hurry?
Okay.
Here we are! The soil looks like it's been disturbed. Maybe Tejima buried something must be something pretty amazing if it made him stick around for 30 years. It looks like a letter. The Konda Village. Sounds so familiar. Where is that place again? Huh. But he's been here for 30 years. Tejima has...
Well, I'll be. That's certainly my handwriting. And I get... But I have still. It's clear that I was waiting for... Over the years, I must have made a note of anything interesting. Anything that I could share with her. And just look at all the things that did happen over the years. The time has flown by so quickly. 30 years feels like that. How could I have forgotten something so important to me? Now that I think about it, when my vision was taken, love, regret, everything I felt for... No. After all, I've forgotten who it's as if she'd never been in my life to begin with. I think... maybe not. Although, what if she were to turn up eventually? Only to find I didn't remember so much as her. When I think about it like that, I do feel a slight tinge of sadness in my heart.
Okay.
How curious. Why am I thinking like this when I don't even remember who she is? It's just like that feeling of emptiness. The feeling that something is... missing. Thank you both for helping me reconnect with my reason for staying here. I shall remain here and keep...
Tejima seems to be dealing...
Yeah.
That certainly explains the state. At least we were able to help. According to Miss Kamisato, the second one who lost their vision is a samurai from the Tenryou Commission.
Samurai from team. Okay.
What's the hurry? Behold!
They say the Tenryou Commission is directly controlled by the Shogun. They're the ones responsible for maintaining law and order in East. But why would they take action against... Paimon doesn't get it. Huh? There seems to be some commotion over there. Let's go see what's happening.
I'll ask one more time. Do you intend to withhold this month's emergency provisions?
This one's emergency provision. Oh.
The entire clan is counting on that food. We demand... How many times do I have to say it? I don't know.
You dare deceive us? Those provisions are...
You samurai think you can just do whatever you please? The Tenryou Commission will hear of this.
Oh, huh? And who are you?
What? We heard the commotion and came to see...
I see. You seem to have come just at the right time. Perhaps you can help us settle. This is Kurosawa. He's a samurai and a member of the Shogun's army. They issue emergency provision. In the past, he's keeping the provision.
No one seems to care about us. We used to think Kurosawa was a kind man. It's no wonder all the visions have been confiscated. The Raiden Shogun doesn't need people like him helping her rule the nation.
This must be one of the people Ayaka asked us. Maybe we should talk to Kurosawa.
I've never even heard of these emergency provisions. I don't know whether it's rumors or whether they're trying to blackmail me. But either way, it's ridiculous. If I was hoarding supplies, would I still be the poor man I am? My own family can barely get by as it is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got other matters to attend to. And that's the first bit of truth I've heard all day. The Shogun's army told me that I was unworthy of my vision. And they said I was slacking off in my work. Apparently, I'd even disappointed the Raiden Shogun. And
Well, that's strange. You were helping enforce the Vision Hunt Decree. Why would you be unworthy of your vision?
to be perfectly honest, all I know is that I will perform certain things every month. And it's not just that. I have this unsettling feeling like
Does it have to do with the missing emergency provision?
I didn't take any. Like I said, if I was taking them for myself, I wouldn't be going through such hard. To top it all off, my house was just raided by treasure hoarders, which is why I came here in the first place. I was chasing after them. If you don't believe me, go find the treasure hoarders yourself.
But we better confirm. Let's go. We should be able to follow their track.
Too slow. Quit following me.
What's the hurt? We really outdid our... All those samurai houses packed with goods. We really hit the jackpot. I mean...
You haven't seen anything yet. There'll be a lot more where this came. Today's just the beginning. I'll be leading you all on an epic journey of pillage and plunder that will go... You demand, boss!
These seem like the treasure hoarders we're after.
Where's the treasure? Surrender! You're open! Furnictors?
I got careless.
Fry! You're open!
The wind rises. Bow your head.
I got careless. Picked the wrong test subject.
You're open!
Squall and Fury.
Oh, there goes all the Mora. We worked hard to steal that, you know? Come on, boss. Think...
Not bad, kid. You ever think of joining the treasure hoarders? We could use someone like you. Kurosawa. So he's the one who sent you after us, huh? Just our luck. I knew he shouldn't have hit that place.
So what did you see inside? Was it...
Food supplies. You kidding? That place was a complete I didn't want anyone else to see it, so I was planning on opening it myself once. But now that you've caught us, how about we make a deal?
You've got a deal. Now show...
Huh?
What the? There's nothing in...
Yeah. And they all seem to be made out to the owner of a general goods store, a Miss Aoi. Wait, we better talk to this Miss Aoi and get to... As for you guys, you're free to go. Just pray that our paths don't...
So, we redeemed ourselves for some IOUs. Shut it.
too slow. The wind rises. Behold! Quit following me.
Welcome to Tsukumomono Groceries. We've got or perhaps there's some
Whoa! Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're just here to learn where How did Kurosawa end up owing you so much money? Did he buy anything?
Let me think. Kurosawa would come regularly to purchase large quantities of foodstuffs. However, the price of provisions began to skyrocket recently, and his salary was no longer enough to cover the cost.
So that's how he was getting those But why did he have to purchase a usual amount? If the price is...
Well, if you think about it, the citizens receiving the emergency provisions must have been Kurosawa thought that it would be quite the disappointment for them if they found they didn't have enough. Especially after such so he deemed it necessary to take on the debt rather than let the people...
Wow. Kurosawa was purchased and no one ever appreciated what he did. They just complained. And how the
people's attitudes will always reflect their circumstances. In the face of hardship, nobody can... if you ask me, had Kurosawa told everyone the truth about the supplies from the start, then there wouldn't be such a severe backlash. Of course, I'm sure there would still have been some unrest. What he was doing was true. As for why he chose to spend his own money on emergency provisions and never tell, if you're still curious, why don't you go ask him yourself? I see. That reminds me, it seems that his vision was most unfortunate. If he doesn't clear the debt on his name, he'll have no choice but to sell that sword.
Sword?
Oh, didn't he tell you? He possesses a very valuable blade. I've asked him about its origins. He told me that it was a gift from his father. In hindsight, I regret that I never made an offer on it. Everything has its price. At least that's... Why don't you ask him about the sword yourself? Perhaps... Oh, but before you go...
But we...
Information is also a kind... Don't worry. I won't charge much for information about Kurosawa.
At least we now know where the emergent... Let's go talk to Kurosawa. What are you doing here all by yourself?
I presented them with a choice. Either they left or I drew my sword. It turned out to be a real time saver, actually. Perhaps I should start... Did you manage to track down the treasure hoarders? Everything I...
That just about sums it up. It turns out that you really were distributing emergency provisions, but they were all purchased at your...
Strange. Is that... I don't really have any such recollection. Even why was I purchasing emergency provisions for everyone? And why would I put myself in such a difficult situation? But I could not deny that when I brandished my sword, this sword was once wielded by... I remember once when I was young. I wanted to sneak out with the blade and show it off to the kids next door. My father ended... What did he say? It would seem that I forgot many important things when my vision was taken from me. So all I can remember now is my father telling me that this blade bore his life's creed before he passed away, and said to me,
Hey, if you look carefully, there seems to be some words engraved on the hilt. Can you
Virtue and justice? Somehow those two words seem to explain taking on seemingly endless debts to make others happy. I guess that must have been my greatest but what use of virtue and justice? I purchased the provisions for those in need. The Tenryo Commission seized my vision. And the very people I was so desperately trying. And the irony of all of it is, I somehow still felt sorry when threatening them with my blade. I'm incapable of being a good person, yet I'm equally unable to be bad. I don't know what.
Yet another when we get the chance, let's speak to Toma about Kurosawa. In any case, we must never let him. Yeah, fortunately for. Let's go find.
It's just me.
The wind rises. Quit following me. Squall and Fury. The wind rises.
The third person who had their vision taken is supposed to be a famous sword master around these parts. Paimon heard that he's the present-day master of Meikyo Shisui art. This is his dojo. Luckily, there's some people around. Let's go talk.
Nanako, don't worry. Since those thugs that challenged the dojo were strong, but he fought them all off in the end, didn't he?
Maybe, but I'm still worried about him. Things have gotten dangerous before in the past, but...
It's just because he's been possessed, that's all. Once...
Hey there!
Who are you? I don't care whether you're trespassers or just here to harass us while Sensei is impaired. Don't make me draw my blade, or you...
No! You got it so wrong! We just came here to...
Disciple?
Yep, but then we got here and overheard...
Please, accept my apology. You haven't arrived at the best of times, I'm afraid. I see you are earnest in your pursuit. Sensei's name is Domon. A name, though self-taught, he mastered the art of the sword to a high level. He then proceeded to defeat many other prominents. He once said that his goal was to become the best, and so, even while training us, he continued to hone his own art. His fervor, but then...
Not long ago, Sensei had his vision taken away. He says the strangest things over and over. Junya and I have discussed it, and we both think that he's being possessed by an evil spirit. But if I'm honest, I still have my doubts over whether he'll completely...
The Grand Narukami...
You haven't heard of it? It's the largest shrine on Narukami Island. The head shrine maiden is reputed to have very close ties with the almighty Not that we'd have any means of involving the head shrine maiden, of course. So don't worry, Nanako. Since the exorcism will take place this evening.
So, losing your vision can cause possession? Guess we should...
Shh. So you decided to come. It's a good thing you didn't arrive any earlier. You would have had just now, when Nanako was attending to him. She heard him whispering a few. When she asked him who the people were, he suddenly looked panicked. It looked like he was in great distress. He was covering his ears and looking frantically around him with blood. All the while he kept calling those names. Some of them we knew, others we didn't recognize. But one of them was Anzai. He used to be a fellow disciple of Sensei's. His senior, in fact. But Sensei defeated him in a duel many years ago. And he has been a wanderer. Sensei wouldn't stop calling his name. Thankfully, the shrine maidens managed. The ritual has now begun. All we can do is patiently await the result. Please, excuse me for a moment while I fetch some water. If he wakes up, he is...
Huh? Who's that sneaking around? Uh-oh. We won't let them get away with it. Come... Seems they aren't here. Should we keep going further up?
Swan Fury!
Is this definitely the right place? Let's look a little further up. Aha! Suspicious person sighted!
How did you... Are you sure you're Domon's disciples? You move even quick, unless... I guess it's been a...
Excuse me? We're the ones asking the question, and what are you doing sneaking around these parts?
Bad news? I'll have you know I trained side by side with Domon back in the day, long before you ever showed up. I don't care to talk about that time anymore. But if you must know, I am Domon's senior.
His senior?
Anzai. Yes, that's me. Because I don't wish to see Domon or anyone else associated with him ever. When we were young, we trained under the same swordmaster. Studying make, I had begun training 5 years before him, and everyone looked up to me as a steady and dependable older practitioners of Make-Yoshi Sui art seek to achieve stillness of mind, freedom. But Domon, when he joined, was go straight to our sensei and ask him, with a beaming smile on his face, how to become. Sensei scolded him and told him that the art of the sword should not be used for such vain ends. Sensei said that coveting the title of the best swordmaster, barely days into his training, I thought so too at the time. But Domon began making swift progress in his training, and only then did I realize that it was Domon who had long since freed. He was consumed by his singular desire to become the best in the world. He sought...
Sure sounds like he meant business. So how come you don't want to...
Because until he arrived, I was convinced that I would succeed our sensei as the master of make. Of all the disciples, I was the most gifted. I had trained the longest. Everyone had high expectations for me. Domon's arrival changed everything. When we sparred, later, I heard that after that I wanted nothing further to do with him. Deep down So, when I heard I decided to quietly come and see if it were true. So you see... Okay, you've heard my story. You should get back now.
Seems like we got it wrong this time. Still, Paimon's not sure we should bring him back with us. Let's go see how...
Does that mean he's just lost his mind? But how is...
Nanako, please...
I am sorry. With what powers I have, I can find no sign of any... But spirits may take a myriad of forms in this world, many of which I cannot claim to have witnessed myself. Thus, I dare not rule out, and all is certainly not lost.
Lady Yai? Is that the same?
The head shrine maiden of the Grand Naru.
Correct. Lady Yai is most knowledgeable indeed, and has abundant experience in the exorcism of... I am unable to...
Excuse...
That won't be necessary. I must leave now, but we will...
Who'd have thought Lady Yai herself would have taken notice of our sin?
Do you mean to say that Sensei isn't renowned enough to deserve Lady...
No, that's not what I meant. I just mean this is Lady Yai, the head shrine maiden. She has direct and close contact with the almighty Shogun. Anyway, you should join us too, given that you've traveled all this way just to meet our sin.
Sure. Who knows? Maybe we'll be able to find out a thing or two about the right... Do you think that's Lady Yai? Oh, no wonder Junyo is so excited. Also, is it just Paimon? Or did she look... it was probably nothing.
Keep away. I gave up the art of the sword. Please.
As you can see, Domon has persisted in this state for some time now. He appeared...
Lady Yai, it must be a possession. This is nothing like him at all. In the past, no matter what came his way, he would always face it.
I'm sorry. It is clear to me that your sensei is not possessed.
But... then...
Yes. Unable to cope with the tremendous pressure he was under, he suffered a spiritual collapse. With his wits impaired, he finally descended into... As one who is thrown into the sea, though he fights back desperately against his predicament, it does nothing to prevent... As for what has triggered this change, I believe it must be the loss of his vision. For to be stripped of one's vision is to be stripped of one's ambition.
Stripped of his ambition? But Lady Yai, even without his ambition, why should he suffer such a dramatic change? How does that explain his descent into madness?
Your school practices Meikyo Shisui art, does it not? Stillness of mind, freedom from all agitation. What a fine notion that would be if any in this world could ever hope to achieve it. There was once one who claimed to be indifferent to rank and reward, and who fled enraged when defeated by his junior. And then there was an aged swordmaster who was aggrieved enough that he crossed blades with a disciple he himself had taught. Then, what of the one who crossed blades with his own sensei and beloved fellow disciple, and defeated them both?
Lady, I'm not...
The path of the sword. It requires one to take their sword. Only a deep commitment to his ambition to become... When that ambition disappears... Much like...
Poor sensei. To think he's been suffering so great.
I'm sorry, Father.
That's enough.
Huh? Isn't that Ansai? Did he follow us the whole...
Ansai, why are there two of you? You're here for revenge, aren't you? I knew it would come.
You're right to assume that my feelings towards you are far from kindly. But I didn't come here to... It's been so long now that I made peace with it years ago. I don't think most of the people you beat along the way would hold it against you. On the contrary, when you cut our ambitions short, now I know that we can't place our hopes in you any longer. But that is no reason to strip them of theirs. Follow the way of the sword.
But what if one day, I put everything I had into trying to become the best? But what if it was all a huge... If there's a chance they'll end up like me one day, I'd rather they stay where they are now than go any...
Have you asked them what they...
Sensei, after you rescued me from the hands of the pirates, I told myself I would. I can't know whether I will suffer in my future as you do now. I want to keep going until the day that I can stand before everyone with my head held high and announce that I, like my sensei...
Nanako's far from the only one.
Goodness.
You see? You can place the ambition you once had. Being stripped of your ambition is something that's never happened to me, so I can't claim to understand it. But so, just as I once placed my ambitions onto you, it is time for you to release. You are not in the same position.
I'm sorry to have made you worry for me, and I no longer have the resolve to become the best in the world. But as your sensei, I shall commit to him. This is my promise. And I humbly...
You can count on that. I'd be checking in on you occasionally, but I am now used to the life. Well, don't you...
So even though his ambition was taken away, his disciples can take it over.
Traveler?
So, the wind that blows from afar carries fresh light. For us to meet now is premature. Nevertheless, you set foot on these islands at precisely the right moment. I have high hopes for you, child.
Ooh, Lady Yuck, she seems super mysterious. We can come back to it another time. For now, guess who fulfilled all your wishes? Huh? Ayaka! Huh?
Huh?
Ayaka herself.
Traveler, Paimon. It is a pleasure to finally meet you. I have heard all about how you helped our three friends.
Ayaka, how come...
Because now that you have done the 3 things I asked of you, I consider you to be my friends.
Wait a second. But isn't Toma your, servant? Paimon's happy to help and all, but Paimon sure as heck did not sign up to be a servant.
Oh. Paimon, you are most entertaining. Toma is first and foremost my friend, and was so...
Oh, okay then. Ayaka, you seem pretty...
Back to the matter at hand. You have now witnessed the pain of those deprived of their visions. What are your feelings on what you have seen? Perhaps in the eyes of a deity such as the almighty Shogun, the lives of those who thunders roar, lightnings flash, the winds assault, and the rains descent. All these things take place, but I believe that surely you understand. It seems that perhaps now you can appreciate my feelings on all of this. In which case, perhaps you would be willing... You will? Really? Naturally.
All right, bravo, my lady. You were right all along.
See? I told you he wouldn't reject them. I'd placed my trust in the right person after all. Now then, given that the remainder of our discussion pertains to matters of a more confidential nature, perhaps we could move to the Komori tea.
Well, here we are again.
Please continue without me. I'll keep...
So, what's the deal with this this place anyway? What makes
Yashiro Commission by the Shogun. The Kamisato clan has the exclusive right to plan, build, and repair any property on this land. Such privileges exist due to the Yashiro Commission's role in managing ceremonial.
Oh, Paimon gets.
Once the number of ceremonial affairs conducted in the city began to decline, our forebears built a tea house here. Only members of the Yashiro Commission are permitted to come and go as they please.
Makes sense. Perfect.
In any case, the she inspires awe, commands respect, and exudes a sense of absolute authority. It was her almost complete lack of any emotion. In that sense, she appeared to me to be less of a ruler and more of... The issue is this. For the vast majority of people, the vision hunt after all, it is but a tiny minority of people who receive visions. Moreover, it is not because of this, the attitude of most people towards the vision hunt.
How can they be like that? Paimon's.
Nevertheless, in addition to us, there is also the resistance on what.
Resistance? You mean like an army fighting against the decree?
Yes. Many who have lost or fear losing their visions have rallied together under Sangonomiya on Watatsumi Island to form a resistance. To say a little more about Sangonomiya, historically, there has always been some conflict between them and the shogunate of Narukami Island due to their different beliefs, but I do wonder whether there may be some other agenda behind their resistance movement. Of course, we have tried on numerous occasions. Unfortunately, each time a proposal to repeal the decree arrives at Tenshukaku, they invariably adopt a stance of unconditional support for the shogun's decisions. It almost makes one wonder whether they had a hand in the shogun's sudden decision to issue the Vision Hunt decree.
Ooh, Paimon has a question though.
Oh? What?
Have you got a plan yet to fight the vision?
To be honest, we do not.
What?
Please, do not forget that challenging the Vision Hunt decree is tantamount.
So...
Well, for the moment, all we can do is try and reduce the harm that is being caused by... For example, by providing vision bearers with safe refuge.
You're telling Paimon that there are people...
Don't underestimate the talents of the craftspeople in Hanamizaka. To the naked eye, their counter... The problem we are facing right now is that Master Masakatsu, who was providing us with counterfeit visions, has recently been arrested by the Tenryou Commission.
Darn! So they found out about it?
Yes. We knew it would... Exactly. I feel this... When you are ready, go to...